but I got him back. Now, let's go ahead and get started on today's episode. Because guys, welcome you to today. The title of this episode, as you guys can see, is how to transform your business into a local monopoly. Oh, that's me talking. Oops. Now, how to transform your business into a local monopoly. Guys, I'm really pumped to share that with you. Big back and here, ready to roll and ready to share some good stuff. Now, why do I take this concept of a monopoly so importantly? Because, well, I do believe that if you are the best, which I know you believe you are the best at whatever it is that you do, well, you should deserve to be the only option available, right? And that's what I want to make sure I do. I want to help those guys that provide the most impact locally, you know, to have as much impact as possible into their community so they can get and make sure that they can serve as many customers as possible. That's my mission, and I want to share that with you, how we can do that today and how we can become the monopoly in your area. Let me share that with you right now by sharing my screen right away. So here it is. This is me, and here we go. Welcome to today's episode of the Marketing Commandos. I missed this. Man, I'm so happy to do this. How to transform your business into a local monopoly. Here is how we're going to do. But first, for those who don't know me, this pretty guy right here is named Gabriel Julié. I'm the founder and CEO of Julihey Media and Julihey Production. My goal is to help local businesses as well to become monopolies and to dominate the marketplaces. That's my goal. Now that you know me a bit more, the introductions were made, let's go ahead and go to the next step. Let's go ahead and show you how to become a monopoly. Now, make sure that you subscribe and that you share the show if you're on Clubhouse, because every single Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I do this and I share with you how to grow your local influence to the next level. So if you're looking for that and if you are interested, well, please subscribe. I did this for free and I'm glad to give that value to you. Now, let's go ahead and get started to the first step of today's episode, how to destroy your competition without making more presentations or investing in marketing. Because let me tell you guys, that's one of the things that I hear a lot of times with local business owners. Because for some of you guys may not know, but I'm issued of a family that, you know, does local business. That's what I've been in for the longest time. Let me tell you what happened. So my parents are into agriculture, meaning that, you know, we've got a little soul down my house and we actually sell fruits and vegetables. So that's the place I've been born, and since I've as far as I can remember, pretty much I was here selling to customers, going into the yields, harvesting some stuff, doing some labor. So I know what it is to be down to earth and do stuff. That's what my whole life has been. And one of the things that I see most people having is that, well, I always go to them and ask them, hey, how do you acquire new customers? What is the way that you use to acquire customers? And oftentimes they look at me with big eyes and like, oh, what are you talking about? And I'm like, oh, this is going to be interesting. And then I go and they tell me, yeah, we have some referrals. I'm like, yeah, waiting for more. Like, is there anything else? And like, yeah, that's pretty much the way we do. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then I usually go into this rant. Let me share with you where my thoughts usually go. Now, let me tell you something. Most online marketers that we try to sell you stuff will go ahead and tell you, oh, referrals, this is terrible. You should have Facebook ads or things like this. And I'm going to tell you, this isn't true. They just want to sell the crap out of their services to you. Let me be straight honest with you. Here is the reason why. Because from all the acquisitions channels that you may have Facebook ads, you may have inbound traffic, you may have like outbound reaching out to people, referrals, affiliates, all those things like this. From all of them, they are all incremental growth, meaning that, for example, if I cold call, the more cold calls I do, in direct relationship to that, I see an increase in results. But this isn't like exponential. It's just like, you know, like I do 10 phone calls. If I do 100, the same proportion is going to apply, but it's just like 10 times because I did 10 times more effort. Do you guys follow me? That's basically the way it goes. But with referrals, this is the only way for acquiring customers that is quadratic, meaning that, and by the way, it can work for or against you, meaning that if you have an incredible product, service, and you're crushing it, that curve of customers that are getting referred and that are coming to your business is going to grow, and it's going to do the heavy work for you. Meaning that that's interesting, because something I see sometimes is that because people have such a good business and they get a ton of referrals, this does most of the leverage, most of the work when you put a cold ad, for example, on Facebook, meaning that if people already have an idea of who you are, and even though theoretically you're sending an ad to a cold audience, meaning they don't know about you, but they already heard from a friend that, hey, this is the guy that, you know, do some good stuff. Well, they're going to check you out. So that does a lot of the heavy work for you, and that is extremely great. But it can also work in reverse. That is one of the reasons why you see all those fake gurus that are growing and, you know, telling, oh yes, do this, do that. But because the product is so shit, well, that referral works against them, meaning that everybody tells their friends that this guy is fake, isn't legit, don't buy from him, like, this is bad. And that does the opposite work for them. So you got to make sure that your product and services are good, but I'm sure that you do that because you're an honest business owner. I know that definitely. But the thing is that that's not something that you can measure, referrals. Like, I know this is the best ways for you to actually like build a business. The only thing that you should keep in mind is that this isn't, you cannot control it. And that's really important because, well, you shouldn't neglect it, but you shouldn't only put your strategy on it, because there are some strategies that, okay, you can put some amount of effort, some amount of money into it, and you know you're going to get a return. You cannot do that with referrals, even though that is the most high return area. So what I would recommend you guys to do is at least having one or two strategies that you can use actively to get some customers, and then making sure your product is top notch, the best of the best of the best of the best. That way you get that referral flow growing, and growing, which helps the acquisition methods that you are using, and which also makes sure that, you know, you help as many people out as possible. So that's extremely important. And for you guys to actually grow referrals, because I'm going to share that with you right now, because, hey, the title right now is, hey, how to destroy competition without making more presentations or investing into marketing. And I'm a man of my words. So let me share with you a way for you guys to get more referrals. Simple thing, one question, and this works for everybody, whatever it is that your business that you're having. But if you follow this, you will get so many referrals, you won't be able to handle the flow. Let me tell you what it is that you guys should do. This is something that I heard from a mentor of mine, which is Alex Mosey, and he's really big into making that product so good that everybody wants to buy it. And that makes me think of Tesla's business model. Love them or hate them, you can look at their strategies, and when you look at this, you're like, huh, they're not on TV making ads, running ads like pretty much every auto dealers, auto brand that is out there. But how do they make so much money though? Like, how is their stock prices so high? How do they do that? Well, Elon, and I think I heard an interview of him talking about this, has really this approach that is extremely similar to what I'm going to talk to you guys about. So listen to that, because that's going to change your business forever. They focus on making the best products rather than going into marketing. And now, at first, when I heard that, I was like, huh, I'm not so sure, you know, like, you're a pretty genius, but hey, marketing works for a reason. But yes, but because he's doing a product so good, that generates attention. This is the asset that generates the referrals. And it's basically, I don't know if referral marketing is a name that I can use, but that's basically the idea. Focusing on creating a product that is so different, so good, so unique, solving such a specific problem to a specific avatar. And man, like, everybody talks about you. And then if you put some marketing into that, well, you just put the system on a whole new level. But let me tell you the exact question that my mentor Alex Mosey told me to do. or to ask yourself in order to generate as many referrals as possible. And here is a situation. Let's imagine that I'm an evil business genie and I just want, to put your slap in your business, and I'm telling you, hey, Shannon, hey, Mike, hey, Richard. Now you are not able to get any more new clients. Impossible. You cannot cold call, you cannot cold message, you cannot send some DM on Instagram, you cannot post anything on any social media platforms. You cannot acquire new customers. Gone. The only way you can use to get new customers is the following. Your existing customers have to refer your business to somebody else. Meaning that the only way for you to get new clients is actually for people already being, working with you to refer your business to somebody else. Now, the question is, what would that experience be? How good would your product be for that person, for that client, for them to refer some business to you? And if you are able to have this frame of mind when creating the product, now you are not looking at creating a product that's good, just, making some money. You're looking at creating a solution that is unique and that is way different in amounts of value that you deliver for your customers. And I would like you guys to think with this, because it can help you to differentiate yourself a ton from the competition, and this will help you all the time in order to make sure your product is perfect. And not perfect in the sense of, it's perfection because it doesn't really exist, but perfect in your customer's eye, meaning that it solves all the perceived problems. Extremely important. If you guys like this, make sure that you share the live stream, because we're not done. We are not done. We are just into the first step of the show. Crazy, yeah? Crazy. Let's go into the next part of the show. Just got my new setup. Don't know if you guys liked it, but anyway, this is the new setup from G to get you guys the best marketing content on planet Earth. So let's go into some Q&As, new questions and answers, frequently asked questions that I see a lot of people asking in order to grow the business. Hey, hey, can I grow my business with referrals only? As I just told you guys, referrals are the best way to grow over time. And if you provide a ton of value with the product, with the strategy I just told you, it's extremely possible to grow with, to make sure referral are actually one of the biggest part of the business. But I would still recommend you guys to have a way to acquire some customers that you can have control over, whether it's cold calling, whether it's paid ads, funnels, whatever it is that you want to use. I would recommend you guys to have something like this, one or two, because it can help you to have predictable results that you can tweak and improve while you are making the best product and getting a referral base of clients that is growing again and again. Extremely important. Now, question number 2. Hey, how can I use online marketing to grow my business if I'm not techie? That's one of the things I see the most people are asking, is that, hey man, like, this whole marketing seems pretty neat, pretty great, but like staring at a computer for more than 10 minutes gives me headaches and makes me want to throw up. So how can I do? Let me tell you the exact way you guys can do. And the key is to understand one thing. That's one thing that I've been always telling to people, is that you got to understand marketing, not how to use a computer in order to be good at online marketing. Let me repeat that really fast. Learn how to do marketing, not how to use a PC. Because when you understand the marketing principles that works, well, those things worked like 50 years ago, 100 years ago. They worked exactly the same. Same strategies. Exact same strategies than right now. The only thing that has changed is because, well, before you had a newspaper and you had to use your marketing material and knowledge on this because the attention was there. Now the attention is on the PC and the phone. You just have to, instead of being on the newspaper, like being on the website. That's just it. And let me tell you guys, if you know how to go and search on Google, click a few buttons, well, that's how good you gotta be. The only thing that is preventing you is not how your tech knowledge, it's your marketing knowledge that's preventing you. So study those things that always worked and see how you can apply them into the platforms that are working today, because people already made the hard work to make it simple for you to apply it. Most of the time, people just don't know what marketing strategies they need to use. That's the biggest problem. Number 3, do you guys like it, by the way? That's one of the things that I see most people having struggle. So that was a big one. But let's go to the next one, which is extremely important as well. Those content marketing really bring customers. Ooh, ooh, I'm taking shots at the branding marketers right now. Nah, just kidding, just kidding. Does content marketing really works? Well, it works extremely well. Like, for example, look at Kylie Jenner or The Rock. Those guys, it works pretty good for them. But I don't know you, but I don't look like Kylie Jenner. Or I hope to you know, have as much muscle as The Rock one day. But hey, I'm not bold for now, so I mean, I cannot do it. But the key is that you guys, jokes aside, content marketing really works. The thing is, it's just not one of the things that you can see. For example, if you invest in an ad or send an email right now, you can see results instantly. Content marketing is one of the things that you gotta build. So building brand equity, which is extremely more long. It's not something that you can see instant results. Like, okay, this is a test we run and we got that results. You cannot quantify brand equity and how many sales it gives you, but it's important. So what I would recommend you guys to do is still work on your content strategy. Make sure that you get this handle and you do it, because it's something that is built on the background and that is going to increasingly give you results. But you got to work on it today so you can do the mistakes and make it build so you can start seeing the results later. So that's the way I see content marketing. Did you guys like this? By the way, make sure you share the stream and the show if you're on Clubhouse, because guys, we're not done. Well, in fact, going in one of my favorite sections of the show. Let me tell you what it is. Today is going to be the top 3 ways to acquire customers for local businesses. Extremely easy. And by the way, if you're not a business owner, it also works for you. Just tweaking a little bit the strategy. Now, let's go ahead and let me show you what it is all about. Number 1. Facebook and YouTube ads. Classic, it always works. And for a simple reason, it's extremely simple for local businesses. Because if I do this with just a little, side note, when you do this for e-commerce websites, for example, you have to stay into certain customers, into certain numbers. It gets really techy and really complicated really fast. Now, when you look at local businesses, this is the easiest form of advertising you can ever do. You basically just be like, okay, this is the area I want to target, some broad interest. Let's say you're a beauty salon. You just put beauty and that's it. No more targeting is required. Maybe woman or man and the age, and that's it. That's it. And that's the only thing that you guys have to do. You don't have to go into some crazy separations, strategy. It's just the only thing you guys should do. Just run some targetings in that way, really broad, and have a good offer. The most important part, remember, is having a good offer. And I'm going to talk about that further in today's episode. Let me tell you what it is. But first, number 2, local YouTube domination. That's one strategy I really like a lot, because it doesn't require you to pay anything. Because ads are extremely good, but hey, you got to pay for them. But what is even better than paid traffic is free traffic. So let me tell you what is local YouTube domination. Let's say you're a plumber, and one of the things that people look at to see, okay, what should I do? And they go on YouTube, they go on Google, especially because, hey, for those who don't know, YouTube is owned by Google, meaning that people, when they are looking for something on Google, like how to change my pipes, I don't know, I'm not good into plumbing, but how to change my pipes, okay? Some results that also are on YouTube, videos on YouTube, are going to show up in those results. And that can be extremely interesting. Here is why. Let's say that you are a plumber in Calgary, for example, and one of the things that you can do is, hey, how to change pipes if you're in Calgary, or at least have a way to target that specific area you're in. And what it's going to do then is that because you are searching a specific area and you're local, well, you've got that trust that people, hey, know you. Oh, this is John, the plumber from Calgary. Okay, great. Here's a video that he made, and it's made specifically for them. So they feel like, oh, cool. He made this specifically for us. That's pretty great. And also it ranks extremely, it helps you to have an extremely high ranking with that video because nobody is doing that. And what happens then? When everybody is looking up for how to change my pipe and they are in the area of Calgary, then you show up first instead of the big, firm of plumbers that you're competing with, because you're dominating this area, and you have the advantage because you're in the area, they believe you, and trust you. So that's an extremely interesting strategy to use, and I really like this one. Now, let's go into the number 3, which is also a free one, because I like to share you the free stuff, the free good stuff. Local Facebook groups. I don't know if this is the same thing in the US, but in France, and I think it's pretty much the same thing in any cities, to be honest, but, I don't know, French people may be just strange, and we are the only guys that are doing this, but we have groups for people that are living in the same place as I am. For example, I'm in a small village named Villeverac, and in this place, we have only 6,000 inhabitants. That's not a lot. Yes, France is pretty rural, guys. Like, we still have internet and we know how to talk. We know what PC is and Google, yeah, but, it's pretty small. And one of the things that I see is that most of the villages and the cities around us have Facebook groups of people that, are in the same, are from this village or this city. And what if there was a guy that was the guy or the girl of solving this problem? Let's take a plumber, for example, again. Like, if you are present and you are sharing, like, hey, like, guys, I know that, and where you can be really smart with this, because you can talk about specific things that only the people in the cities will understand. For example, let's say you're in Calgary in Canada, if I'm good at geography, but there is a lot of snow, for example. It's snow season. And because you're a plumber, you see that there are a lot of problems with pipes because, they froze up and gives a lot of problems. You can be in the Facebook group, and that's also another great idea to make a video. Going back into the next one, but you can make like you can just link the video that you did for YouTube strategy local domination, and you can be like, hey, I think the pipes that froze. Here is how to do, and not call up a plumber, so you can actually get those pipes working, and you can actually go to the toilet, because it's pretty important. And then people are going to be seeing you as the guy to solve the problem. And who do you think they're going to call when they have a problem with their pipes? Or even if, like, they see the video is pretty cool, but they don't want to do it, or they struggle to do it, who do you think they're going to call? They're going to call you, John the plumber. So make sure that you use those things and that you leverage them. And being local is extremely important, because you have the advantage of trust and a lot of advantage of the context that the city and the people only that are in the city will understand. For example, if, like, the city has a lot of bad traffic, and maybe do a joke about it, because people are going to relate, and then they'll be like, oh, I like this guy, like, he feels me, he feels like something that if he understands me, because he's in the same city, we share the same values. So play on that, use this, because it's an extremely great factor that big companies and your competitors are not using to differentiate yourself and to connect with your customers. Extremely important. Now, bonus tip, because I like to give some bonuses. The offer is the key. The only thing that is preventing you to get to the next level, to get your business to the next level, is the offer. The offer is the first part of the transaction. That's the most important part. How important is it, Gabriel? Well, let me tell you something. One of the biggest, best offer that was ever ran was the Domino app. The Domino offer, Domino campaign, however you want to call it. I think you guys know about it. It's so famous. Hey, if your pizza doesn't show up in 30 minutes, you get it for free. Oh, one of the best offers ever made. And now they just grabbed the marketplace. They dominated the whole marketplace because of this, and because they were willing to do something like that. Now, one of the things that you guys need to understand is that if your offer is so crazy good that people cannot resist, they cannot say no to it, You have a lot less work to do when you're selling. You get much more conversions when you are using pay Facebook ads like YouTube and Google and all those things like this, those fancy stuff. Well, you got to make sure that when you invest some money into that, it's working and it's giving you the best results possible, you know. And it's also the same thing when people are comparing yourself to the, and that's one of the things that I love the most. If people are comparing yourself to the other cheaper alternative, that's one thing I hear a lot. Yeah, but I'm losing some business towards the cheaper alternative because you're comparable. Because people can actually compare you to the cheaper alternative. Oh, that's bad. You don't want to have this. And if you create an amazing offer that is like beyond, like miles, light years away from what your competitors is actually proposing, now all of a sudden you are not being able to be compared with the competition. You are selling in a market of one. And now you basically have the freedom of truly putting a number on what is the value that you are delivering. And they cannot compare your price because your thing is so different. It's basically not the same thing at all. So keep that in mind. The offer is key. It's the first part and the first thing you need to be working on. Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup. I love that Mike. Mike, love the tips. And I appreciate you, Mike. I appreciate you, Mike. I appreciate that you love the tips. Because, hey, if you like what I just shared, like Mike, well, make sure that you share the live stream and you ping somebody to the room because we are not done, guys. We have still my favorite part left. And why is it my favorite part? Because this is the part where I can actually go deep into a step-by-step process of you being able to do something that is going to give you results today. How do you guys like to see results today? If you're like me and you like getting results fast, I'm going to share a process that is extremely good and extremely fast to get you guys results without you actually investing any money in ads. Yes, this is something that you can do for free, and it is going to get you 10 times the money from each customer. Ooh, interesting. How can you do that? Well, let me share it to you. How to get customers to buy 10 times more from you. Let me show you the principle and how this happens. Well, first, one of the things that you guys need to understand is that I learned this strategies from one of the mentors of mine called Ross and Brunson. And staying into the Domino's and the pizza stuff, he went to a pizza store, and the guy was like, yeah, like, oh, you are this, like, you know, marketing guy. Oh, cool. Like, what would you recommend my business to do? Local business. And this applies for everybody, by the way. What would you recommend me to do first? And the guy said, okay, what you're going to do is that you're going to take people's information and you're going to send them one email a day. All right. And you're just going to send them promotions to them one email a day. And what happened is that when the guy used the strategy, and, you know, this guy was like pretty, I would say, pretty substantial pizza store. So he was already, you know, running ads on radio and newspapers, things like this, but not this online stuff, you know. And what he used and what he saw is that he set up two phone lines, one for the, you know, radios, newspaper ads, and just one for simply the emails. And what he did was basically, yeah, put free toppings if you give your email address and phone number, email address and name. And he gathered like maybe 300 names or something like this. And like he saw that the email ads, like the return on investments on the emails was 4 times. The results were 4 times higher than the radio and the newspaper. And remember, guys, you pay a lot of money to run an ad on the newspapers. You pay a lot of money to run an ad on the radio, but he paid 0 for the emails. 0. And he can stay in contact with those guys, they're his customers, every single day. So that's the power of emails. And I'm going to share with you a process, the same process that you can use right now, practical approaches, exactly what to do, where to go, so you guys can apply it today for yourself. Number 1, create an irresistible offer. That's extremely important. There's a first step, because if you don't have that irresistible offer from the get-go, you're not going to gather as many email addresses, names as possible. So first and foremost, irresistible offer. That's the most important part. Number one. Number two. So you get the irresistible offer in exchange of all the contact information. Then number two, you gather as many names, emails, and phone numbers as possible. The bigger the list, the bigger the results. Number three, you go to my favorite email app, because I see people like, oh, should I use MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, all that, blah, blah. No, just go to Flowdesk, app.flowdesk.com. That's Flowdesk, flowdesk.com. Go there. It's the pricing wise and just I just love this one. It's just so good compared to the alternatives and extremely cheap, but it gives you the best results. I don't know how to do it, but use it. Go to flowdesk.com and then you upload your list. So you upload the names and the phone numbers, the emails you got. And what you do then is you send them an email every day. Yes, every day, about promotions you are running or providing them with valuable information. So hear me out for a second. One of the biggest things I'm going to hear from business owners at this point is, oh, but when I receive emails every day from this guy, it annoys me. And I don't want to be that annoying guy to my customers. You're right, you don't want to. And let me tell you why you're not going to. Because they responded and basically said, hey, I want your stuff, by putting down their emails and phone numbers in exchange of your offer, meaning that those guys are your best customers. So one of the things that you got to see is that the emails you receive from the guy that you like, well, they do not annoy you. They're like, oh, I actually need this. And that's exactly the same feeling that your customers is going to have, because they were like, oh, I've got this problem. I want a free topping on my pizza. Oh, I want to have a free evaluation of my pipes. I don't know what you can offer for free, and those things you offer them for free because they're interested in that. And they said basically, yeah, take my email address, take my information because I'm interested in getting this. Well, they're waiting for getting more from you. If not, they wouldn't give you the information. So send one email a day with promotions you're running and some valuable information, because one of the things that I talk about with Thomas, which is my email marketing genius, Thomas Panic, really great guy. And he says that the most important thing is to share value in your emails, and make sure that you talk like a friend. Don't be all formal and this is a thing that is no, be talking to a friend, hey, the way you should be talking, be you, and sharing value. But what does sharing value mean, Gabriel, in an email? Well, what are the biggest pains and problems that your customers are having? And what are the solutions you can send them to fix their pains or to get closer to their goals, to their dream goals? How can you make it shorter? And really listen to the things I'm telling you right now, because you can go into a lot of tangents with what I'm going to tell you. How can you make it faster? How can you make it easier? How can you make it more enjoyable? How can you make them believe this is something they can do? How can you make it worth it for them? Making them realize this is something that they should actually do, because this is the way for them to reach their goals. You see where I'm going? How can you make it certain that they achieve the results they want? Another way to provide value. Because people tell you, oh, provide value. I just share with you 5, maybe 7 ways to truly provide value. Because to give value is such a vague topic, but it actually follows a few principles. Hey, how can you show it this is worth it to them, for them to achieve their dream results? How can you make them sure they're going to actually achieve their dream results? How can you make it faster, easier, more enjoyable for them? How can you and how can you make it faster? That's basically one of the ways that you guys can use in order to share some value. And sharing your promotions as well. And by the way, your promotions are doing just that, because you're promoting a product that is making it faster, more enjoyable, whatever it is that you're providing value toward. But that's the way you guys should do. Do you guys like what I just shared with you? If so, make sure that you share the live stream, because we're going to go over about the main information that we shared today, and that is the most important part. Now, oh, damn, COVID's still there. Now, Number one, referrals are the most powerful tool a business can have. Referrals are the best of the best. And that's maybe something that you're not going to hear from an online marketer because they want to sell you some Facebook ads. But I'm telling you that one of the first things I'm going to do when I go into your company is actually work on those referrals. How can we create an offer that is so good that it's basically making you a superstar? Like, did you see what John did with, like, this is incredible. I never saw something like this. And that is when you actually become a monopoly, because everybody's talking about you and you become the only true alternative to everybody else. And that's how you become a monopoly. You have to master that referral game. But to do that, you have to create an incredible offer. That's extremely important. Number two, the offer is key, as I just told you guys. If you do not have an incredible offer that sets you apart from the marketplace, well, you're just going to be compared to the other guys, the other cheaper alternative. And it's going to be making the game way harder for you, for a simple reason, because when you have a good offer, you don't have to be that good at sales or persuasions. Now, hear me out. It always helps to be good at this because it gives you better results. But you don't need to be good at sales, because that's the only way for you to sell your thing, because you're basically the same thing than the alternative. If from the get-go, the customer sees you as like, oh, this isn't the same thing and this is incredible, I want this. Well, it's way easier for you on the sales call, you know? So always make sure that you have an incredible offer that's going to set you apart from the competition. That's the best thing, the best tip I can give you, and the best way you can make money today. Now, number three, dominate your local markets, not the entire world. That's something I want to make sure that people understand it, because maybe local markets understand it better than most people. But when I see a lot of entrepreneurs, they always want to, and I did this mistake for a long time, they don't want to niche down. They don't want to be like, oh, I want to talk in the world, I want to be the guy. Okay, you're competing with like all the biggest of the biggest of the biggest that have fundings of billions of dollars, and you're like, what do you think you're gonna do? You know, but it's way smarter to actually focus on dominating an extremely small market first. For example, just your city, or even a district in your city, a specific part of your city. The city is extremely big, but focusing on dominating this. And then when you actually do dominate this, you can actually go into markets that are on the sides from it. For example, let's say you are in Calgary and you're the plumber of Calgary, and you basically dominate the whole city. Okay. Now you're not going to be like, oh, let's go into like talk to Canada. Nah, that's too soon. Maybe go into the cities right after it. Go into a bigger area. Maybe you go into a region after this. And then you go into 2 regions, 3 regions, and then you dominate the whole country. But there's a time for increase, but it happens by dominating an area first. First dominate the area you can master, and then you go further and actually go ahead and dominate the bigger market. That's the way you guys should be doing. Now, if you were liking this episode, make sure you share it to somebody. Make sure to ping somebody and you join the clubhouse room to see behind the scenes of what is going on this show. Every Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This was Gabriel, your favorite host. And I see you on the next episode. Be great, my friends.